Hello, everybody. We're live. It's been a little while since we've done a live stream, so I figured why not? Monday night, let's do it. I don't think we're competing against anybody, or if we are, I haven't checked. So it won't matter anyway. We're not competing with anybody. Okay, so I have an amazing guest today. We're talking to Matt Winger.
What's up, everybody? Happy Memorial Day and support the troops.
That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great to have you. I invited several other people on too, and we'll see if they trickle in or not. We're going to have a good time anyway. So looking at chat, Trash Fire is here live. Yes, we are live. We have Nazua Artillery. Hello back. Asuka, hello. Bianca, hello. All right. It is live. Yes. Refresh if you're having a problem. We've got 13 people now. We will get into it. And Matt is here. Before we kind of get into the meat of the topic here, let us know a little bit about your book. You're getting really close to getting funded. Tell us about your book.
This is a great time to be here because I think we're probably going to get right across the finish line live. Because you can see we got $7,124. Our goal is $7,500, 94%. We're almost there. And if you're in the chat, you want to back, I will do a dab for you live. Let us know that you backed, and I'm going to dab for you. This
live
is a fun, live dab. This is a fun book. It's called Super Harem. It's got great art by Joe Ball. It's about a guy who has a weird power. Any woman he makes love to gets superhuman abilities. So he doesn't have any superpowers of himself, but he can bestow superpowers in this weird way. But there's a drawback, and that's that using these powers, there's a chance that they could summon a giant monster. And that's what we're seeing right here. So this is a comic. It's about sexy ladies fighting giant monsters. So it's a lot of fun. You can see here's some of the art. We've got Journey as the main girl. She's taking on this superhero persona of the Valkyrie, and she's going to fight this giant squid.
Wow.
Yeah, that art speaks for itself, I would say.
Yeah, that's cool. The giant squid is amazing. I love just the texture in there. That's awesome.
Yeah, Joe did amazing detail, like just the texture on it, like you're saying, and all these eyeballs. It's crazy.
Very cool. So you wrote the story?
Yeah, I wrote this story. I actually drew it myself. I'm an artist too, but I wanted somebody better than me. So I've already drawn most of the comic in my style. You can see I've got this like half Looney Tunes, half manga style that it's good for web comics. That's what I used to do until now. I've done web comics for years and years. And I drew this, and then I thought really it was too good to just do as some silly lark on the internet. I wanted to make it bigger. So I hired Joe, and he's looking at what I did and then translated it into his style. So you can see this is the same scene. I put it up here for comparison. Journey is got this squid coming through. She's fighting it, and it gives her a good whack. And then you can see there's quite a bit of difference there.
Yeah, that's
what kind
cool.
Of degeneracy is going on in here.
Degeneracy. We have Eric Weathers in the chat.
Hello.
How is it going, Eric?
It's going well.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How you doing, Matt?
I went telling Edwin that I could beat you up. I was saying that I could beat you at Mario Kart. I just want to make that clear.
Okay.
That we were stream sniping you guys earlier.
On when I was on Brian's channel?
Yeah.
Oh, you probably could. My Mario Kart game is weak.
I was like, oh no, did I invite the wrong two people? We're gonna have actually that'd be great if we could have a fight. That'd be awesome.
I'm just teasing because I was on with Edwin Boyette earlier and we were stream sniping them and like just acting like we were talking trash. And I was like, I could beat the crap out of both of these guys. And the chat was like, oh yeah, Brian is like Krav Maga and all this. And I was like, oh, well, I was talking about Mario Kart.
That's funny. Nice. Well, we've got 31 people watching right now. I want to see. I'm curious the power of Sweetcast here. This channel.
How are we?
Yeah, we're getting really close to getting Super Harem funded, and so yeah, if you haven't yet, share out the link on social media and let's see how many people we can get in here. He's really close. That'd be cool to punch him over the finish line.
We did just get somebody, so it's time for a dab.
All right, dab.
Am I supposed to do that, or
that's just
you
man?
Can. It would help.
It would help.
It would
Yeah.
help.
See,
Dab
my
it.
son in here, he dabs all the time.
Yeah. How old is your son?
He'll be 9 in a couple of months.
Okay. Yeah, I've got an 8-year-old too. He just turned 8 though. It's all the little things like the dabbing I don't get and flossing. Now I see that everywhere. Yeah.
It's all from Fortnite. Well, dabbing predates Fortnite. But
it's Fortnite that really made it the meme that it is.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of doing it as a way to humiliate myself for my backers. I want to entertain you any way I can.
I'd say it's working.
Yeah.
Well, you got at least one backer. So yeah, every time you back, there's going to be dabbing. Maybe we'll have some flossing too. We can.
Yeah. Maybe if I knew more Fortnite dances, I could do those, but I don't know that many.
Gotta do the Carlton dance.
Yeah, I'm not 11, so I haven't spent hours and hours playing Fortnite.
Nice.
Yeah, my son, we were away all weekend, away from the PlayStation, hanging out at Grandma's house, going fishing, doing real life stuff. So he's upstairs playing Overwatch right now.
Oh, he's got to catch up on some gaming.
He's got to catch up, get some more loot boxes. Earn them, not buy them. He's not buying them.
Nice. Aldous on the farm just off Orwell Lane says, Hell, Sweetcast, Weathers, and Winger. Hell. Sorry, I always slaughter your name. Trash Fire says, would it help if Super Harem link was in the description of the stream? Yikes. Yeah, that's a big deal. My bad. Here, I'll put it in the chat. Someone might have beat me to it already. There it is.
We just got another one.
All right. Dabs.
Dabs all around.
There we go. All right. Very cool. So we got that going. All right. Like I said, we have a few other people invited. We'll see who drops in. I posted a video today on the price of comics, and it got me thinking a lot about why comics are the price that they are. And I think there's a few different functions of comics. I'm curious what the both of you think. But I see comics as it's a reading entertainment thing. It's also a collectability kind of thing. That gets me. And I don't know, I guess those are probably the two big things, entertainment, and then there's the collectability of it. And so pricing is going to vary. I'm curious, how much is the most, if you guys aren't ashamed to say it, the most you've ever paid for a single issue comic? And that goes for the chat as well. Let me know if you're not afraid to say it. What is the most you paid for and why? I'm guessing it had less to do with reading and more to do with collectability.
Yeah, I don't have one single issue, right? So I spent a lot of money on my own books, so I bought a single issue, a few hundred times. So I'm sure that doesn't count though. For me, honestly, the one that comes to mind is only $40.
And $40 though.
Yeah, 40. Yeah.
That's a lot if you go to a comic shop and you're just buying the latest issue. That is a lot.
That's a brand new Marvel comic right there.
Yeah. That's just
it was an old Sergeant Rock comic that was on the I just wanted it. So it's like I want it, it's there. I don't care if 40 is too much or too little. I'm just gonna buy it. It was just one of those whimsical purchases.
Yeah, I think go ahead.
I probably spent about that on a comic. It's probably about the same. But whenever the spawn was actually valuable, I spent a lot of money trying to get all the issues, and now it's like worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah. As with many of the comics from that era, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have Trash Fire says $25 the most I paid for a single issue. I'm new to comics. You know, that's it's not bad though. I think the
Sounds
most
like a Indiegogo backer.
it might be. Yeah. I spent $30 on a single issue, not a graphic novel. Single issue, I think $30 was one. It was a Ninja Turtles comic, one of the earlier ones. So that was one. Let's see who else. Eric Breen says, Amazing Fantasy 15. My dealer worked it out to where it was $990. Yeah. So you spent $1,000. Yeah, $1,000. Eric Breen, if that's true, if you have Amazing Fantasy 15, I'm jealous. That's awesome. That's really
cool. So far you win the competition.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Trash Fire says $150 if you don't count the head sketch version of Earthworm Jim I pledged for. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Those kinds of things. Yeah, they can count. So yeah, my emphasis, the point is, I guess I'm trying to make is that I'm guessing every one of these comics that we've spent more than $3 on, more than $4, it's more about collecting it, like having it, versus just reading it or keeping up with the story.
Right.
So reading it and keeping up with the story, that's a whole different issue, no pun intended. Yeah, spending $5 on a floppy, it's like, I don't know, it's like I want to keep up on a story. It doesn't make a lot of sense. That's why I end up buying trade paperback. I just wait for the trades to come out most of the time when it's about reading and not about collecting. And that can get pricey still, but it's more manageable. And you know, if you love comics, you're still spending money on it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know what should single issue comics cost. This is a tough. A lot of people are talking about this too on Twitter.
Well, we were talking about this kind of like what spurred this before we went live, talking about Alterna, because Brett Booth was talking some smack about them. I don't understand why we moved away from the newsprint to begin with. Like, why do we need this like expensive glossy paper? Comics are like, for the most part, it's a disposable entertainment. Like, you buy on a whim, or this is how it should work. You're a kid and you see a spinner rack and you're like, oh, this looks neat, and then you're entertained for a little while. But you can't do that if it's $5. That's not an impulse buy anymore.
Yeah.
No, it's not an impulse buy. What if you could inform me on this Brett Booth Alterna hubbub. I was away all weekend and away from news. Can you run that down for me real quickly?
Yeah, you didn't miss a lot. I made a video of it today, and basically Brett Booth was just talking about the price of comics and how you can't bring the price down. Essentially, like you have to charge. You can't charge $1.99 for a single issue because creators aren't getting paid. Now, how do you expect people to make a profit and pay creators and get a page rate and all that kind of stuff? I don't think he really had I didn't see a clear path of reasoning. It was just a lot of conjecture. And so anyway, I was thinking about it a lot and I made a video about it. And I think cheap comics are good. I don't know what the numbers look like under the hood, but basically that's all it is just Brett Booth is basically saying Alterna can't pay their creators. I know that's not true, but
yeah.
Let's see.
Peter Simeti claims that they're making money, and he seems very trustworthy to me personally. I would say I'm a good judge of character. So if he says that, I believe him 100%.
Right. Yeah, me too. I know Peter relatively well, and yeah, it makes sense. He's making money. But you definitely you're able to reach more people at a lower price point.
That's the point, you know. That's
right. So it's volume versus just dollar amount, I guess. And that's why crowdfunding is a totally different issue. You're limited, the depth of the market is limited just by the nature of crowdfunding. And so charging, like if you did a crowdfunder and you were only charging $1.99 or $1.50 per issue, it would take you forever to raise enough money with crowdfunding. And that's where I think the collectability comes in. If you're providing something in a really small print run for crowdfunding, then it's a little different. I don't know. That's the way I see it anyway. The books that I've supported with crowdfunding, I'm actually really excited about, because it's like, I mean, even that Bigfoot Bill, that book is going to be, I mean, it's probably, I'd have to check eBay. It's already got to be worth something more than I paid for it, just because there's higher demand and there's fewer out there. I'm going to check up on chat here. Eric Breen says, Sweetcast sold it for the rest of my collection, with the rest of my collection about 5 years ago. That was Amazing Fantasy 15. I'm hoping you made a profit, man. That's awesome. Aaron Olson says, I haven't spent more than $20 on a single issue, but I have spent more than $200 on crowdfunding comics several times. Yep. Again, that it's a kind of a different thing, and you get the fear of missing out, man. Once it's over, it's over.
There's a limited time offer sort of experience with crowdfunding. I mean, even if it's open and in demand for a while, like, and you can forget about it, right? So like Long Harbor, there was a message. I think I saw a tweet 2 days ago or Friday or whatever. And he was saying, hey, I'm going to be closing down the next, whatever tomorrow was from the tweet. And I hadn't backed it yet. So I was like, man, I got to get in on this now, because I don't want to miss it, because that book looks fantastic. So that was one of those, like, all right, let's do or die now. So it's time to do.
Yeah.
And, it's just, we're just in a situation where being able to just sort of feel like almost like you own it a little bit, or like you're a part of something, not necessarily own it in a monetary sense, but like you got in, and now any other version of that book is going to be different.
Right.
You got the special, and you got it signed or whatever.
Well, that's exactly what's great about crowdfunded comics, because it's like a team effort, like everybody that puts in there, they are a part of that.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's something, and so that's why it I don't know, it itches that scratch, I guess. For me, like, collecting comics is the last time I was really into collecting a series was, and I don't really know why, I just thought I ought to, but it was the Superior Spider-Man run, and I didn't have all the issues, and so I kept looking and trying to find a few that I was missing. It was okay, like reading wise, it wasn't the best, but it was like I had to complete the set, because it was going to bother me if I didn't. So I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people know that feeling, but there's the collectability of it. And crowdfunding comics, like, I'll tell you, like Cyberfrog, I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm kind of kicking myself that I wasn't even aware of it until this latest crowdfunding campaign. So I've got that variant cover, which is going to be great, but I don't have like the foily one that's coming out, and I'm a little jealous about that. So
yeah, I was fortunate enough to get in on that one. I'm not sure. I haven't decided if I want to get the square bound version or not. It's like, because I want to get it for the ash can, so it's like, that's another $50.
Yeah.
It's like, there is a part of it, like, these Indiegogos are expensive.
They are. So. Yeah, and so it's making it, I don't know, I think of it really as a collector standpoint. What do you want? I almost wish, mine's going to be square bound, but I'm thinking about it, and I wish I would have done it saddle stitched, because I would kind of like to send the book and get it graded, and thrown in a slab or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Maybe on another campaign I'll do that, but I don't know. It's an interesting kind of balance to strike. Let's see. So Regan Lodge says, love your show, sweet cast. It's the sweetest cast. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Peter Simeti is in the chat. He says, I'll pop in about 15 to 20 minutes. Hope you guys will still be on. Yep, we're on, Peter. So yeah, no worries. We'll be on for a little while here. So, yeah. So I'm curious with the chat, what if you're looking at collecting comics from, you know, it could be a crowdfunding standpoint or any, you know, you're just getting comics in general. Do you like having squarebound? I've got Jawbreakers here. It's always my example. Squarebound, like a graphic novel. I love this stuff to read. For collectability, do I wish that I had a floppy? I don't know. I've been thinking about that a little bit. I kind of do. Kind of wish there was a floppy.
Well, we love floppies, but it kind of is almost to the point that they're just not feasible anymore. Like, it's hard to make money off of them.
Yeah, crowdfunding wise, it's a tough nut to crack because just you have to just deal with the cost of it all and the shipping and all of that. So the fact that we have these larger books and larger price points is to sort of get out of that trap of you can't crowdfund a 22-page comic.
No,
not effectively. You need to have something that's more substantial, at least double that. So
yeah, that's what. Yeah, I would want to. If I'm backing something crowdfunding wise, I want it to be something. I mean, maybe it's the extras too, but getting something that you feel like, oh, that was worth my money.
Yeah.
I even go. I keep using this example, but the Bigfoot Bill book, I got that thing and it's gorgeous. It's hardbound. I was like, yeah, that was worth $25 plus shipping, so $35. It was totally worth $35. But how do you make? I don't know. But I also want floppies. Like, part of me wants to do a crowdfunding campaign and do like 4 floppies, and so you get all 4. That way you get floppies, but you also get multiples. I don't know. Maybe that is a terrible idea. Printing for that would be a nightmare because you're printing 4 different books.
Well, there's some printers have variant cover options, so it wouldn't be completely out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
If you did go through Alternative's program though and did newsprint, it would only be like $4 pretty much for those 4 issues. Oh, well, actually about $3.
Yeah, that printing program is awesome. I wonder though, since it's newsprint again, it's the, I don't know, pros and cons with crowdfunding because you want to get your money's worth.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. Wow, we got 64 people in the chat. I just want to remind everybody, especially the new ones that came, you're gonna get on-air dabbing here by Matt if you back his book Super Harem. Matt, why don't you give us a quick little ad for it?
We actually did just get some more backers, so we're going to be doing some dabs here in a second. But let's take a look at Super Harem. I want to read the setting here. I want you to know that this book, it's not just a silly concept. It actually has some great character drama. So Apollo Beach is a popular resort town in the summer. There was a time that the small town even claimed its own superhero, the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie once defended Apollo Beach against strange giant monsters. In winter, now the tourists are all gone, and they aren't all that is missing. Both the Valkyrie and the monsters she once battled have all disappeared. Tim Boring is one of a handful of people who knows what happened to her. The Valkyrie's real name is Sophie Asini, and she's the love of his life. Sophie left him upon learning that it was the Valkyrie's powers themselves that had summoned the monsters she fought.
Nice.
So here we go. Here's some dabs for our new backers. We're almost to the finish line, guys. We just got a little over $200.
Oh.
Dabbing.
Whoo, baby.
I'm going to dab harder than anybody's ever dabbed, okay? So you guys might want to stand back.
Yeah.
You should be feeling that through the internet.
Oh, man.
Watch out.
He just threw his shoulder out.
It's gonna pop a blood vessel in his eye.
Yeah. All right. We were too hot for the chat. That's awesome.
I've got some people on Twitter asking me why my artist Joe Ball is in Twitter jail, and I'm going to tell you it's pretty funny. He actually he called Jim Carrey the R word, so that's why he's suspended from Twitter.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, huh?
They called him a Republican.
Yeah,
I love that.
that's what happens.
Nice. Yeah, don't forget the respectable. We have another one.
Don't go on Twitter and call celebrities bad names. You will get in trouble.
Yeah. I've noticed though, if you have a check mark, they can get away with a lot more.
Yeah, it
than everyone
depends
else.
on who they're targeting.
Yeah. We've got Eric's empty chair here too. I love that. Oh, there he is.
I'm here. My son hurt his foot. I'm looking at his foot.
Oh yeah, take care of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more important than some internet stuff.
Yeah. So your artist is in Twitter jail. When is his sentence over? How do you get out of Twitter jail?
Normally it gives you like a timer. It'll have you delete the tweet that got you in trouble, but he's just like in limbo right now, so I don't know what's going to happen.
I have heard for some people that if you delete the tweet in question, then you're out of jail. I don't know though if saying reasonable, some people are all guessing the R word. Reasonable, rotund. Yeah. I don't know if that fixes it or not, but that I've heard it worked for some people.
Well, it usually gives you that option. It will say like if you delete this tweet, but I guess that didn't happen to him.
Yeah. Well, we're really close to getting this project funded. you got to think of something really, really good to do if you cross the finish line on this stream. That would be great. So I don't know. Any suggestions from the chat too? He's done the dabs.
What do you want to see? I've already dabbed harder than anybody ever dabbed. It put a crack in my computer screen.
Mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's just blowing up the internet. My cat's asleep right here. It almost woke her up.
Yeah.
But, it takes a lot to move a cat.
There's a subtle shift of the earth. Cats around the world have taken notice. We see, let's see, cartwheels. Eric Breen says cartwheels. The hardest dab. Can it get any harder? I don't know. Maybe you can try. Can try.
It's not the hardest dab until there's blood.
Dab 2. Dab hard 2. Dab harder.
I can't do a cartwheel for you, though. I'm too fat to do a cartwheel.
Now we have to see it.
That's good television right there. It's drawn talk. Dab hard for a good day to dab hard. Man, I love chat. You guys are awesome. That's great. Very cool. So price of comics. This has been tough for crowdfunding in particular. So I've got things in the works, guys. I can't say anything about yet. I'm really excited though for the future, but a lot of this is, especially for crowdfunding, it's how do you make a book that people have to have, but it's also worth the money, and it also has the capability of raising enough money that you can get funded and make a profit and get it done. It's a really interesting tightrope to walk.
I think something that's going to help a lot, because this thing is just getting bigger and bigger. So in the future, you'll be able to do a lot more pages, and I think that's going to be a good value for the customers if they're getting these thicker graphic novels.
Yeah. Matthew Rice says, tell Matt to lose the accent for an hour. Could you speak in a British accent?
Well, I don't know. Let's see how limey we can get in here.
Perfect.
I love that.
I say you keep doing that. I like that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I wrote a rap that I can sing in character as the crocodile hunter.
Oh boy.
Name is Steve Irwin from the outback. Name is Steve Irwin on the attack. Don't fuck with me, getting me pissed. Don't you know I'm a herpetologist?
That was worth another backer.
That was worth another backer and another dab.
I'm posting the link again to your project. Everyone, check it out, back it. That's awesome. That's great. It's hard to get on track after that. That's awesome. So I'm curious a little bit, Eric, you got a crowdfunding project coming up. I actually advertised it today in my video.
Is that now? Let me ask you something, because I saw some new subscribers pop in on YouTube. Did you mention my YouTube channel?
No, I mentioned your mailing list. I put your mailing list in the video.
Okay. Well, I actually got a few in the mailing list too. So let me thank you for that. I really appreciate the
yeah, you bet.
the shout out. But I got some like phantom YouTube out of nowhere, because I haven't done a video in a while because I've been too busy like doing the cover and like getting things prepared. So you hear me say that and you're probably like, yeah, you're too busy. Here I am still making one a day. But I was gone over the weekend. Lay off.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
All right.
Yeah. I'm curious though, can we see an update on your cover? I don't know if you're prepared for that. That's kind of throws you on the spot. But...
No, that's fine. I just gotta hide what I'm doing right now because nobody's supposed to be able to see it. I'm lettering some sort of thunder punchery gunshippery. Let's see. I can open in Photoshop the high-res scan, and it's actually a little bit different than the photo that I put on Twitter, because I went back and I was like, I need to kind of change just a little bit before I send it off to name redacted. I'll announce the colorist when the piece is done.
Okay. Yeah.
So let me get Photoshop open and then I'll screen share.
Now we're excited. All right, I'll check in chat while you're doing that.
Okay.
Matthew Rice says he has to hold off for the line crossing, make him earn it. Yeah, I think that's for the rap. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure there's all sorts of greatness planned. So keep backing it. And then Cap Black Cheesemo says Dab Hard 7, the dab awakens.
Dab Hard 8, the last dab.
The final dab, the dab to end all dabs.
And the rise of Dab Walker.
It was written about in Revelations.
It was
in the last 23rd chapter of Revelation.
King of the Dabs. What's the Godzilla movie now? The one that's coming out?
Yeah. Dabzilla, King of the Dabs.
Dabzilla.
Yeah, I'm gonna say about that, I've been a huge Godzilla fan for a long time. I'm pretty stoked for that movie.
Yeah, me too. It when I look at it, it reminds me of the old ones because it has like Mothra. I don't know, for some reason Mothra has always stuck with me. I used to watch those as a kid and I really enjoyed them. And there's something about the outlandishness with Godzilla movies that's just perfect. So yeah, I love that they have all the other monsters in it. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, Godzilla's just fun. So I guess he's got ready this cover. That looks really cool, man.
Oh yeah, let's look at what Eric has going.
All right. Yeah, I got it. If you share or lock on my screen here. This is the cover as you saw it on Twitter. What I did was this character here, this lady here, her name's Adler, Penelope Adler, and I forgot to finish out the rest of her costume, so I went ahead and fixed that. And it's an experimental flight costume for jet aircraft in the 1940s. So it's sort of like a vacuum suit or whatever it's called that they use today, but it was all like rubber, and I forgot to add all the little lines in the belt and all that, so I added that in there. Nice. But this is sort of a smattering of the characters in the book. This is sort of our stormtrooper. This big head here, that's a plague soldier. And then the guy here with a sword, that's Mason. And we have Gloss in here with Eleanor, his ugly stick baseball bat. And again, that's Adler. And then on the lower left is Brian Red O'Malley. He was a waist gunner in the B-17. Opposite of him is Lieutenant Lawrence Bell, a Tuskegee Airman. And in the middle is Captain Stephen Reynolds. And he was the captain of the B-17 Bombing Betty that you see there at the bottom.
That's a really cool cover.
It's currently being colored, and I can't wait to see it. So, and that's the raw scan, so you can see how like the brush strokes of the ink fill it in and all that. And then you can go in and do the threshold, and this is what it looks like when it gets colored. That's what the blacks will look like.
Are you going to put it on your campaign and sell that original?
Oh yeah, it's going up.
Yeah,
It's definitely going up.
talk about collectability. That's
Yep.
one of those things. Original artwork, man. That's awesome.
Those faces are really well designed. Like they're all very distinct. I could tell that guy was a ginger by looking at his face, and it's not colored.
Well, thank you.
Love that. Yeah, this reminds me of like a movie poster, like almost I don't know, just a lot of great movie posters, classic movie
Yeah, this
posters.
was sort of Drew Struzan inspired movie poster. I wanted to have that feel for the cover because I've known about this book for, how old are you? Elliot's in here. He's 8 years. I've known about this book for 8 years. So for me, it's like I got to put stuff on the cover that sort of doesn't give anything away, but tells a story in a way. You know, you learn like, okay, we've got a knight here. There's World War II aircraft, but we have a bomber, but we have what's this gas mask zombie, crazy creature guy here. So try to have some intrigue, but for people that already have read the book, because there are going to be backers that have already read the series, they're going to think, oh, that's cool. So I wanted to kind of try and put my toes in both ponds, if you will.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, I'm definitely keeping an eye on this.
Yes, blindfortresscomic.com. You can sign up for the mailing list.
That's right. Yeah, mailing list is important. Let me check in with chat. We have, I love all these titles for the dabs. I love this. Here's another one. Cat Black Cheese Mo says Avengers End Dab. Is the dab to end all dabs? Yeah, that makes sense.
That would be a dab that comes in with the Thanos snap.
The dab snap. I love that.
Yeah.
Sebastian Anon says, Sweetcast, hey, what? All right. Hey. Sebastian says, sorry, fat fingers, but what's the best way to contact you outside of Twitter? You can email me if you're interested in contacting me directly. My email is sweetcastclint@gmail.com. It's all one word. Yeah. And I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. But I respond to everybody. So I'm going to drop here in the chat one more time the link to the Indiegogo. We're so close. It looks like it's 96% funded. That's really close. It's 4% away from the biggest dab you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Sweet dab or down dab. Nice. Snow tab.
I like the idea of this sweet dab.
Sweet dab. Yeah, that almost sounds like a hot sauce.
Or a sexual position.
Yeah.
It could be fitting for the book. Aaron Olson says, what do you think about crowdfunding whole series with multiple tiers? Cheap, too expensive, basic PDF, ashcan, teasers, floppies, collected trade paperbacks, and original art and hardbound, etc.
That's a big question.
Yeah, whole series. That's what I was wondering about. If I did a mini series and did 4 issues, I don't know how the pricing would work though, because it's not like 4 variant covers where it's the same interior art. It'd be 4 different books with different art. Could be cool. I mean,
all at once? Or are you saying this is the series I'm going to do? Here's book 1. I want you to fund the whole 4 issues. Does that make sense how I described it?
Yeah. So you're shipping like 4 times then?
Yeah. Because if you're going to do a series and say it's already done, I don't see why you wouldn't just put it in trade.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm doing.
It's true. Yeah.
It's not cost effective. It's cheaper for you and the backers to just do a trade.
Yeah. For those of you in the chat that may not know, like the cost of getting a single comic book printed and the cost of getting a trade printed, the percentage of cost to what you sell it for ratio, cost to whatever that word is, that ratio is it's much more in your favor as a creator to put it all in trade, because you can spend like $6 or $7 for 200-page graphic novel and sell it for $25, $30, $40, or you can spend $150, $2, $250 for a 24 page, and then what are you going to sell it for? $5. So you get a better rate of return on your.
Yeah, this is so another thing. So Roberts brings up that Ethan Van Sciver saying printing ash cans was more expensive than anticipated and it was cutting deep into his profits. I was wondering about that because you're really you're making 2 books to ship out, and that's expensive.
Yeah, it is. Something I had considered for Flying Fortress was, do I do one book together and put everything in it, or do I do like the book plus sketchbook? I'm like, it's going to cost me twice as much to do the sketchbook, so it's all going to be one thing. You're going to get everything in one.
I will tell you, variant covers are very cost effective depending on the artist. Like if you're doing the art yourself, you're great. If you're paying an artist, you can spend a ton of money on a amazing artist with a name to do a variant cover. Printing costs are not much different at all, but you definitely don't want to go. To me, I think one variant cover, like I did for Downcast, I was really happy with just doing one. I was tempted to do another one, but I didn't want to do that to people. So yeah, we just did one variant cover. I think that's good. It helps you with the print run. It's actually really cost effective. Making a second book though, I know that's rough. Prints, on the other hand, or posters, those are really good. Or trading cards. Like there's all sorts of other things you can do. An ash can, I don't know. I was considering doing it, but I was wondering how they did it without losing all of their profits on making a second book.
I have something on that. I've done 2 ash cans in my career. I did an ash can for Flying Fortress, and I've done an ash can for Operations Effort. And both of them, we printed them at. You can game the system at Office Max, because you can print flyers at Office Max for really cheap. I forget my prices. I forget the exact number on prices, right? So you can print a flyer at Office Max. And so what I did was I took a piece of paper and I folded it, knowing like I was going to make an ash can that was the size of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, folded in half like this. So then I took a bunch of these and put them together in a book, and then I wrote one, page 1, page 2, 3, 4, and so on. And so I knew what page on front and back was going to be what page I needed to print on. So like page 1 was here, but then, this would be like page 6. It would have been something else different. And then on the back would have been cover, and then like page 4 or whatever it is whenever you're writing it out. And so then I took that and I put my Oz pages together, and I made 3 pieces. It was 3 sheets of paper. And I took that to Office Max and said, I need these flyers printed, because it's cheaper to print a flyer than it is to print a booklet. So I did a flyer, and it was like, I think it was like $50 for essentially 100 ash cans.
So you're saying that you Xeroxed a comic like the Robert Crumb method?
No, I mean, it's full color. It's nice. I mean, it could have been full color. I cheaped out and did black and white, except for the cover. So one of them was a color flyer, and the other ones were black and white. So I didn't have to pay for a full color booklet through Office Max. I just paid for one flyer, and then I took them home and folded them and stapled them myself.
I did the exact same thing when I was drawing Aldrake versus Cronus Knights. I would do the chapters as a single issue and create those Xerox comics exactly like you were talking about, and go and pass them out downtown like Robert Crumb would do.
Yeah, it's a good way to one, it doesn't take that much time to put them together. And I was getting ready for a convention, so I said, you know what, let's get something together, and it was the cheapest way to do it. So, and it was good quality too.
Yeah. Aaron Olson in the chat says Graham Olson seems to crowdfund individual books and series, but he basically snowballs the collection as he goes. Each campaign has more material in it each time. That's the natural progression of things, I think. I know for me with Downcast, it's like book 1. That's what we're doing right now. And then the next campaign, I'll tell you, we've made enough. I think that we're going to have most of Downcast 2 finished before we launch. I want to not make people wait nearly as long. So we're going to try to have it finished, if not completed, then at least all of the line art and most of the colors done before we launch. And then on the second one, there's going to be people that don't get book 1. They never got it, or they just heard about it, and so it makes sense to make that available. Not necessarily doing a reprint. Maybe if you have to, I don't know. It depends on how many books are left over. But yeah, I do think that's a natural progression. That makes sense. I've heard that your boy Zach is going to do the same thing with Jawbreakers, and he'll make the first one available again, just so people can get it. It only makes sense. People will be upset if they don't have access to it.
Yeah, I've heard Doug say he's going to do that with Bigfoot Bill. I've heard John saying he's going to do that with Graveyard Shift. So yeah, I mean, they're leaving. If you don't do that as your second book, I think you're leaving money on the table, because there's always going to be somebody that didn't get in.
Yeah.
Hey, we got another backer just now.
All right. Dab time. Shield your eyes. That was awesome.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. We're almost there. 96%.
So close. I'm going to pop that link again in the chat so you guys can see it. Anyone that's new, check it out.
This comic has everything that you could want in a comic. It's got sexy ladies. It's got giant monsters. It's funny. It has character drama. It has action. Everything. Boom.
And dabs.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about in the book, but you know.
Not in the book, but in real life.
Yeah. Peripheral dabs.
That's where they really matter.
Yeah. Yeah. You need them live. I mean, come on. Yeah, Aaron Olson is following up. He says, what Eric is describing right now is exactly what many indie comic let me say that again. Many indie mini comics do all the time. If you only have 500 to 1,000 ash cans, then why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tradition going back to like whenever the small press was invented.
Yeah. Yeah, doing, I don't know, it'd be kind of fun too. How collectible is that? If you're talking about collectability and price, having something in an extremely, like, even handmade element to it where you're the one stapling it together.
Yeah, if you have that, like, we did, I think, 100 Flying Fortress ash cans. And those are the only ones there are. I don't even know. I think I have one, and it was one that we accidentally stapled the middle page upside down. So it's extremely rare, and if you have it, it's like, it's kind of a big deal. It hasn't seen print at all since then, and it is going to be that 8-page germination of the story of Flying Fortress is going to be in the trade, but that's the first time it's seen print since its inception in 2011. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. That is definitely collectible. Man, I'm making plans for, I'd like to do a Comic-Con once I am finished with Downcast, at least one. We'll see too. But yeah, making a little ash can or something, that's a good idea. I like that.
Hey, I just remembered I had some of these left over from when I used to do with this. So here's the last issue of Aldrake versus Krona's Knights as this little Xerox ash can.
Yep.
And you know, here's something special we can do. Backers tonight at random, I'm going to throw these in with your book.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Random ash cans.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So here's the Oz ash can I did. And it's black and white as well, but I did the cover. That was color. So
nice. That's awesome.
And I got some advice. I'm tinkering with my Flying Fortress tiers, and somebody said, hey, you know, your early bird special, this might be a good perk for the early bird special. So I might throw that in there for the early bird, the Operation Zephyr ash can.
Yeah.
And that comes signed by the artist and the writer. So,
I like that. Yeah, sweeten the deal a little. Speaking of sweetening the deal, we have a super chat. This is so important. Everyone, I am monetized, by the way, finally. Trash Fire for a Canadian $5 says, can Matt talk a little about the 3 female characters so I can make a decision regarding the character sketch at the $75 tier? Matt, what do you got for us?
Okay, yeah, I can tell you all about that. So we talked about Sophie. She's the love of Tim's life. She's the girl here. This, by the way, I don't think we talked about this piece of art here. This is by Carl O'Rowe, and all physical tiers are getting a mini poster of this, so you'll get a print of this art. And so Sophie's in the pink there. She's the good girl, and she left him when she realized that it was the powers that he bestows that was summoning these monsters. So he's been alone ever since. He's kind of depressed because you got to think every time the guy has sex, it could destroy the world. So he's kind of like become a shut-in. But he ends up getting dragged out by his friend to a party, and he gets a drunken hookup with Journey. She's the main girl. She's the one in the front there with the purple hair. She's kind of a trashy like thought, I guess. So she's a super thought now that she's got Tim's power, and she actually thinks that the fighting these giant monsters is fun, and she's kind of not concerned with how that affects the world around her. And the girl in the back is Ashley. We're not going to see her until the end of the book, so she's kind of mysterious, and she's going to hint at the bigger world of Super Harem that we'll see in the next volume. So we don't see Baron. Of course, Tim is the main character here with the tie. This is in my art. So we don't have any good art from Joe yet that shows Baron is this guy here with the beret on. He's kind of like the affable villain. Like he's evil, and he's like in the middle of all of this, but he's not really against the heroes.
All right.
All the main characters of Super Harem.
All right. There's more explanation for you. And yeah, I see in the chat, Peter came in at the perfect time. Peter, it's always the perfect time. How is it going, man?
It's going good, sort of.
Sort of.
That's how I feel.
That's my answer for everything when someone asks. I'm like, it's going good, sort of.
Yeah.
Hey, Peter, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Eric?
Oh, well.
Man,
I want to tell you guys, I'm retiring from comics.
Oh,
I'm retiring from comics because I'm filthy, stinking rich. You know that stuff that they put in the grocery stores, is the flyers and stuff. It's on newsprint. It's really expensive, and I took a whole stack of it.
Yeah.
So I'm rich. I'm gonna start selling these.
oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
If only I had gotten in on that.
That's what all the pros say. They say how expensive it is. So I
Yeah.
figure I could make a living reselling grocery store flyers with the newsprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was told
$1,000,000
by
idea.
Brett Booth that you don't make any money.
Yeah. I don't know, Peter. We don't want to throw you too much into it here, but I did make a video about you today a little bit.
How
Sort
nice
of
of you.
peripherally. Yeah. We're talking about the price of comics, and speaking of newsprint, I don't know. Let us know how do you cut costs? How do you make things cheap? How do you make comics cheap so people can buy them and still make a profit? Seems like that is elusive to many.
Yeah. I think the problem is everybody's overthinking it. I have a wizard that makes them really cheap. It just casts a magic spell, and they're all done. Poof, like that. So we don't pay for printing. We don't even none of that. We don't even have creators. I just have sock puppet accounts with these aren't real people. There's no one actually making Alterna books. It's just this wizard I have, and he's just like, boom, done. Here's a comic for you, Pete. And I'm like, okay, great.
Lives under the stairs.
See, easy answer.
Yeah.
Everyone's overlooking that. You know, you need a wizard.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, the thing is, I don't know. Tell me what you think about this, Peter. But it seems like a lot of people think that the goal is you make a comic or you work for a company and you get paid a page rate, and then you've made it, you've arrived. But if you're not selling comic books with your art or your writing or whatever it is, then where's the page rate coming from? Like, it has to come from sales. I mean, that's how business works all around. But I don't know. In the video today, I mentioned that you got to start someplace, and you probably be better off getting published, even if you're not making a massive page rate when you're starting out, versus waiting for that magical big page rate. I don't know. Hold on one second. Let me read this super chat, and then I want to hear what you have to say about that, Peter. Trash Fire for Canadian $2. Thank you so much. He says backer number 219 of Super Harem. I was had to think for that minute. Of Super Harem based on Matt's salesmanship. That's right. Can you give us another dab, Matt?
Yeah, we do need one right now. Warning, atomic dab incoming.
Oh, I didn't shield my eyes from that one. I think I might go blind.
Is your kid still in the room, Eric? You got better.
Yeah.
That one came with a parental
the back
advisory.
Of the chair is lead line. We're good.
That was awesome. With that as a segue, Peter, the magical page rate that everybody's expecting to get. I don't know. You have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think about 87-88% of the comic industry should just quit then. The magical page rate, that's funny stuff. You know, it's weird how much Alterna gets attacked for that one. How long has Image been around?
Right. They have to pay Image like $2,500 in order for the pleasure of being published, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why there's a risk. I mean, you could work for DC or Marvel. I mean, if they want to hire you, and you could get a page rate. There's no telling how long you're going to work there for. If you have creator-owned stuff, you have something for the future at least. I don't know, that I feel like everybody's relying on the big two to make their careers. You really don't need the big two.
Yeah, it's kind of a reverse. It's a reverse mentality, I think, that's going on in comics right now. Which is weird because Image did break so much ground. I mean, Image scared the crap out of the big two to the point that they pretty much completely made gimmicks out of their whole universes. You know, they killed off Superman, they brought him back, they broke Batman, they took out the adamantium from Wolverine, they made, Spider-Man was all over the place. They caused them such pain because Image was pretty much number one for years in that realm. I mean, Marvel made a knee-jerk reaction with the whole thing to pretty much buy out Heroes World to do their own distribution, and they hastily did that. They didn't do that at a peak time when they had McFarlane and Jim Lee and all those the top talent that went and formed Image. They did that at a time when they were scrambling and kind of had no big A-listers. I mean, they were coming in third, I guess, if you count Image's first at the time, and then DC was kind of kicking their butt for a bit. They were going, belly up. They went and filed bankruptcy, for crying out loud. There's so many bad decisions that got made, which resulted in the whole thing of selling off movie properties to Sony and Fox and all of that, and created the big tailspin of that, which is now coming around. So they really disrupted that whole industry. So it's weird to see when they had so much success, and then you look at like the success of Walking Dead, that people would kind of go, well, you know what? You can't really make it in the indie market. You have to go back to the big two and play their game, and then maybe hope that you build an audience and then break through the indie market. But that's what's weird, is because now we have creators that are successful in the indie market, and then they'll go backwards and they get work to the big two. We keep building up. Creators like Donny Cates, they could have had astronomical indie careers. It's very weird. It's backwards.
Yeah, this is a point I made too. Is like I hear people will say, if crowdfunding worked, or if building your own audience, or if your business model worked, then the big two would be doing it. It's such a farcical argument because what the big two are doing right now isn't working. If whatever they're doing is not working, so they might be coasting. It feels like they're
Yeah.
coasting. But making new intellectual property, or just, I don't know, moving ahead, making people making a living off of comics, you really don't need them. And to think that they're going to be the leaders it's just not true.
And here's the funny part, and we do this, and I'm ramping up and getting advertising sales reps to this, so they can actually take over some of those responsibilities, because I just don't have any time. We're expanding so quickly, and it's getting to a dangerous point. It's too much too soon. So I have to get people in there to help out. But it's great that I'm able to do that. But big publishers like Marvel and DC, everyone's overlooking the fact that a big publisher commands a lot of volume by sales, which means that they can command high dollar for their advertising. Any big publisher knows you're going to make your bread and butter with advertising and subscriptions. That's the magazine game. Now, they used to do subscriptions direct. They don't do that anymore. Now it's more a comic shop thing. But Marvel and DC should be making all of their money back for print run and creative costs with advertising, so that they couldn't even sell a copy and they'd be making their money. Now, if they wanted more money, there's a simple solution to that. Get the damn books into other places. But they want to stick to the comic market because it's easy to control a small business market and kind of bully them around. You know, you can't really bully around Walmart. You can't really bully around Target and all these other big chains. You have to play by their rules.
Right.
So, and then you got to get the whole line there. You can just get, 4 or 5 titles, but something out there that actually gives you that exposure into bigger markets. Comics used to reach out to the audience. That's how they grew to be so massive. Now the comic industry wants the audience to come to them. And we're wondering, well, as comic shops die off, well, why are comic sales getting worse? Well, you only really sell the things in stores that are dying off. There's half the amount of stores now than there were when Alterna started. Jeez. So, and double the amount of comics every month. That's not a good equation. That's not sustainable. Yeah. So all these companies, all these creators that are wondering, well, where's my page rates? Where's this? Where's that? Where's my work? Well, you need better distribution. You need more sales by volume. Sales by volume goes up, page rates go up. Your exposure, your awareness for your own brand as an artist, a writer, whatever it is, that goes up. That creates more demand. That turns you into a superstar. That's why the 90s creators became a superstar. But the thing is, the companies don't want that, because then they become really big and they leave, they do their own thing, and they get huge somewhere else.
Yeah.
But the thing is that who cares? Because then the next generation's coming in. The next talent wave is coming in. And then you can do that. It's like a sports team. You can't just drain the veterans for forever. They're going to have to move on one day. So you have your farm markets. You build up your talent. It used to be the way it was.
Yeah.
The 90s hit, Image hit, and that was it.
Those creators, when you let them do what they do best and not jump them around from book to book, or have them just do 2 issues and then back out, is you get them to build their audience that will stick, maybe with that book, but definitely with them. And then that creates those, man, I want to draw like that someday. And then you get your farm team built up in the background while your pros are out there doing the work. And then when they leave, there you go. You got your everybody starts out as a clone of somebody else almost these days, it seems like. At least back then they did. So you get that guy that comes in and covers in for whoever, Greg Capullo or whatever, and he is going to look like Greg Capullo, and then in 5 years that has morphed into his own style, and then he's the big dog, and there's somebody thinking, I want to draw like Victor Bogdanovich. That's my guy right now. And it's just sort of this, like you were saying, Peter. Yeah.
I'm going to jump in here just for a minute to read Chase Johnson's super chat for $2. Thank you very much for that, by the way. Always enjoy the videos. Good luck, Super Harem. Thank you. And thank you for the luck, too.
Yes, thank you very much. We're so very, very close right now.
I'm going to pop that link one more time in the chat here. We'll see. Yeah, this is why I'm really high on creator-owned stuff. I have been for years. Just, you talk about getting moved from book to book to book, or you might have one book you really want to write, and even if you're working for a big publisher like Marvel or DC, the odds of you working on that book that you want to work on are pretty slim. So I don't know, having creators that really care about what they're doing, if you own the thing, if it's creator owned, that's you're really invested in it. I can tell you, like Downcast, I'm very invested in the story. I'm really excited about it because it's the thing that I've been wanting to do.
Yeah, it's yours.
Yeah. And there's a future for it, and it all depends on what my audience wants to see. You know, if they want to see another book, we're going to do Downcast 2 for sure. But the more they want to see, I mean, there's no middleman, there's no publisher in there that's deciding this. It's working directly with the audience.
Well,
Which,
the passion and the love that you put into something like that, your creator-owned project, you don't get that from corporate entertainment, and that's something that I think people have really missed out on.
It's true. Yeah. So
the thing is too, there's pros and cons. Obviously, I don't want to discourage people too that want to go the big two route, and you kind of want to do that, and you don't have any kind of creator owned thing in your mind, or you want to go that way, because you have to be a very motivated person to want to do creator owned, to want to do your own campaigns, to want to be your own driving PR kind of thing. So it's not for everyone. It definitely isn't. But you make sacrifices. You're creator owned. So you have all your IP. You have more control over it. It's yours. There's more passion there. Hopefully, more passion that you feel for the project, for your book. The pay obviously isn't. It's not that it's not as good. It's that it's not as consistent and it's not as immediate. But the thing is, to get to that point, how much work do you have to do to get to a level where you're going to be somebody that gets a great page rate at one of the big two companies? So you might as well do creator owned. Like this weird discouraging mindset that's occurring for creator owned projects, it's coming around because of the fact that people are scared. People are intimidated by it. Mm-hmm. And people who have great ideas and are self-motivated and want to get their own ideas out there, they're not scared. They're excited by it. But people who are not that way, if you're a cover band but you're not the actual band, you don't know how to write a hit, you're going to be really scared, because that's starting to encroach upon what was secure and popular and everything else. Why are the big companies constantly buying out shelf space, basically, by flooding the market? They don't want another Ninja Turtles. They don't want another Walking Dead. They don't want another Image Comics. They want things to stay the way they are, because that means that their competition, which is this rising indie market, doesn't have a chance to actually rise and not threaten the comic space, but threaten film, television, merchandising, everything else, which is their bread and butter.
Mm. Yeah, so that's part of the fallacy, I think, is that you can either do it on your own and be self-motivated and driven to make sales, or you can work for the big two. The truth is, if you are driven and you are getting stuff done, you suddenly become a lot more attractive to publishers. So even if your dream is to write Spider-Man, the best way to do that is to be making comics, being driven, building an audience. They still are going to want that. Having said that, for me, I still am like creator owned. This is a good question though. Something About Comics asks, Sweetcast, who is the character you'd go mainstream for? I don't know. I guess mainstream. Yeah, Ninja Turtles. I've said this before. If I had a chance to write even just like a one-shot Ninja Turtles of anything, I would jump at that chance. I'd also I'm kind of interested in writing Cyber Frog too, just like a one shot. That'd be cool. Other than that, though, I think just doing my own stuff is the way to go. It'd be really hard to convince me otherwise. And Fuzzy Pickles, what's up? Hey,
sounds delicious.
Yeah. So that is a good question, though. Who's a character you'd go mainstream for? I want to pose that question to everybody on the panel here. who's the character you'd go mainstream for?
That's a good question. I think if I got a classic Wolverine, I would go mainstream for that.
Yeah, Wolverine. Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. What do you think, Matt?
I think I would have to go with Lobo. I would
All
live to get on Lobo.
There you go. That would do it. Peter, what about you?
Yeah, I was thinking I'm gonna have to dig back because I haven't had a desire ever to do mainstream in a while. I'm gonna have to go back to when I was a kid and I loved it. It'd be either Spider-Man or Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. I used to say I kind of want to write Spider-Man or Daredevil, but not that much really. I don't know that I could really add anything like from the good to, it's just Daniel though from chat says Star Wars. I would love to write a story set between episode 2 and 3 involving Anakin, Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Dooku. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, for the most part, I don't know. I'm really jazzed about creator-owned stuff. That's the thing. I was noticing this. All of the new movies coming out are sequels to something or remakes of something. There's not a lot of original
Entertainment's
stuff.
very safe right now.
Yeah. Why is that? Comics do that too, for sure.
Yeah, which is weird because back in the day, makes you sound so old when you say that, but you'd have these blockbuster hits, and that would give the studios money to greenlight smaller, weirder films, that kind of a thing. And so you'd kind of have this nice, even spreadsheet of films that are coming out with a diverse catalog. And now it's a lot of push towards either, if it's not a big budget film, it has to be buzzworthy on some level. Yeah. And that's it. Everything else is a dead zone. Everything else is, if it's not a hit by some weird kind of accident, it's dead and it's out, and that's it. And especially everything's rushed to market. I mean, we used to wait like what, a year, 2 years to get something on a VHS or whatever. Now it's like 2-3 months later, it's on a DVD or a Blu-ray, and the urgency factor, it's all immediate. Everything is instant, and in some ways it's good and in some ways it's bad, but it's made art into this instant consumption kind of, you just want to get through it so you can get on to the next thing. It doesn't
Can you really call it, or if it's just a corporate product that's being pimped out like on an assembly line?
Exactly. And that's what's missing, and that's what's so great though about indie and creator-owned stuff, is it doesn't just take time because people have day jobs or whatever else. It takes time a lot of the time because people just care and they want to make something as good as they can, and they don't have someone that's literally like, well, your deadline is next week, so get that done right now. I don't care what it looks like. It has to be done. And especially when you look at comics are shifting so much towards a topical nature. How do you stay topical? I've said this multiple times. I don't follow trends when I pick up books for submissions, because what's hot right now isn't going to be hot in 2 years when I want to put it out on the shelf. So trends are useless to me, but if trends are your thing as a publisher and you want to, get what's topical, you're going to rush that. It's not going to be thought out. It's not going to be poignant. It's not going to have any nuance or subtlety. It's going to be very hard-hitting, heavy-handed storytelling. And it so happens most people don't really enjoy that kind of storytelling.
Yeah. How forgettable too. Like I think of a lot of the movies that have come out in recent years, and I think back to like a movie I saw like 6 months ago. Like I know I saw that movie, and I can't even remember what happened in it. And I remember I thought it was an okay movie, like I liked it okay at the time, but I've forgotten everything about it. I don't know if that's just me. I'm getting older or something, but I don't know.
It's junk food. We need some really good hearty meals of art.
Yeah, seriously. Think about this. Can you think of a movie that's come out in the last 5 years that you'll be watching 20 years from now?
John
Yeah,
Wick,
I
but
don't know.
that's just that. But to Peter's point about, I forget how you phrased it exactly, but making it current, making a
Hidden
what was that?
trends. How do you
Yeah,
be
hitting
topical?
trends. Okay,
Yeah.
this is a far off reference, but it reminds me. As a family, we started watching the Dick Van Dyke Show on Netflix last year, and we just powered through it. Great, one of the first sitcoms ever, black and white, made in the 1960s. Right?
Yeah.
Fantastic show. And so my wife was reading into it a little bit, and she read an interview with either Dick Van Dyke or one of the writers or something, and they said that they purposefully didn't use any lingo from the time because they knew that would eventually date the show. So you can watch the Dick Van Dyke Show and get all the gags and get all the jokes, and it's essentially timeless because it's black and white and they're wearing clothes from the 60s and all of that, but they're not saying like 60s slang. It's calling people daddy-o and all of that and making it sort of that time capsule. They were able to step over those pitfalls and make a sitcom that we found quite enjoyable, even in 2018 at the time. So
Yeah.
it's important, I think, to be aware of that when you are creating something.
Well, this is in any writing workshop or writing seminar, writing classes. They'll tell you to make universal themes, so because they're not just going to appeal to people in your, in your city or your town or your time period. They're going to appeal to people always. Those are the best stories, and we already know that they're the best stories. But that gets ignored a lot. And some of the trending stuff, it works for. I'll tell you that's how YouTube works. That's the game. In case anybody didn't know it, you jump on those trending topics, but you can do that. And I would not consider my videos art by any stretch of the imagination. But
yeah, it's commentary on what's currently happening.
Yes.
And that's it.
That it serves a purpose. But do I want to read comics like that? No, not at all. I don't even want to watch movies like that, and not at all.
And even art that's been made as commentary, there's wonderful pieces of fine art throughout time that have been literally just a comment on what was occurring. They find the subtext, they find the universal theme to tie into it so that it goes deeper than just what happened. And art that does still capture a moment, like a lot of Impressionism was all about capturing just everyday moments. That kind of stuff, the technique involved, the highlighting of the mundane aspects of life, that's what made those things beautiful, because at the time especially, no one gave a crap about someone washing their clothes in the public square, someone going fishing, people at the park. Everyone cared about royalty. That's who got their pictures painted. So it created this beauty of life, and it created, you could see your world. So there is a way to do it, but tie it universally so people can appreciate it. And the thing is that, and you mentioned it, Clint, you mentioned the fact that you're encouraged to find these universal ties and these themes. And that takes going outside yourself. That takes learning about other people. That takes time to explore themes and life and all kinds of things, not just your own experience, the experience of others, learning about people, so you can create something universal. You can't create universal anything if all you're doing is creating what you know. So you create some deeper work by doing that. And if anything, we're seeing what people are obsessed with, the sense of self and their experience and their truth, and to hell with anyone else's. And so they create these very personal type stories that are supposed to have universal appeal. Well, what a shock when they don't.
Yeah. I'm going to check in with the chat here. I like that a lot, Peter. I'm going to say this. Every time, not every time, but often I'll get onto Twitter and you'll post stuff about, and I'm forgetting his name, Bruce Lee. And when you explain it like so clearly, I'm like, you're the Bruce Lee of comics. That's awesome. Arch City Comics says, tell Winger I love him. All right, that's been done.
I appreciate that. Maybe we can go on a date sometime.
Hey, there's an idea. Fuzzy Pickle says,
Stabbing trip.
Fuzzy Pickle says, honestly, Peter, I think copyright extension in 1998 may have played a role. I think that was in reference to the movies not making new content, I guess. And then, Arch City Comics, sorry, I'm a little behind here, sent us $2 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, tell Winger I love him back, Super Harem, all caps. In fact, I think this is a good time. Why don't we take a little break? I'm going to post that in the chat here. Where are you at right now?
Yeah, we don't have any new backers right now, so no dabs. If you guys want some dabs, you're going to have to get on there.
All right.
We're $158 away, so just a little bit more, and we're going to be over that finish line.
That's close. I just posted the link in the chat, so yeah, do check it out. See, now I can see our we were at like 90 something. We're at 89. Those are probably 5 people that just left to go back it right now.
Yeah,
so
get us there, and I'll sing the Michigan J Frog song.
All right, Michigan. We've got
Excited.
dabs, raps,
We'll find out.
everything. Make them work for them dabs. Yes. Exactly. So Peter, I wanted to ask you a little bit about this. We talked a little bit about this earlier, and that is the concept of comics being entertainment, and you want it to be affordable, usually if you're for entertainment purposes. But then comics also serve this collectability purpose that just, I don't think it was intentional at the beginning of comics, but it is definitely a part of comics now. Where do you see Alternative's role in sort of filling those niches, or do you where do you see your role?
In terms of filling a collectability niche or anything like that? Is that what you're...
Whereas, yeah, I guess, okay, so I'll tell you what I think. You tell me this is wrong. Alternative to me seems like it's going back to, hey, comics used to be affordable for people so they could read and be entertained and get their money's worth. It's sort of going back to that, whereas I still like collecting comics, but it feels like a lot of mainstream comics are banking off of the collectability of comics, and that's why maybe the prices are so high. I don't know. That's from my perspective. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I've never been a fan of creating a false collector's market, and that's what I feel a lot of the variants have been doing. I'm not necessarily, I talk a lot of crap about variants, but my 2 problems with variants is one of them, obviously, I don't like when it's incentivized and it's predatory on retailers. That's awful. It puts them in a weird pressure situation that they feel the need to take on so much stock that they're probably fully aware that they can't sell. So I don't like that part when it's an incentivized variant. The second part is that how many variants were there for Detective Comics 27 when Batman debuted, or Action Comics #1?
Yeah,
none. And they're iconic, and they're valuable. And why? Not because of the fact that they produced X amount of variants, that they made a gimmick out of it, but that because something happened of importance in the issue. Putting tons of variants out there means that what's important is the variant and not what happens in the issue. And because that the whole market has shifted to create this false collector's market that's predicated on, let's just make people think they're valuable, and then in a year from now they're not. That's not creating a sustainable collector's market either. The collectible comics used to be collectible because of the fact that, oh crap, this character debuted in it. Oh man, this person died. Oh, look at this, it's a new costume. Something happened that made that issue have significance. And making a bunch of variants and making this weird kind of, variant thing where it's just constant variants. I know someone in the chat said, isn't that the X-Men variant cover behind me? Yeah, but there wasn't, 20 of them. Right. So all that kind of stuff, and it wasn't incentivized either, which was a good thing. All that kind of stuff waters down the value of comics for a collector, and then again too, when it's really premium paper stock, which it kind of was around, I'd say 2005, 2006, was like a really good paper stock for a lot of comics. It makes grading comics and the condition of them kind of moot. Everything's like a 9.5 and above practically. You know, it's gonna, you're gonna be hard pressed to find that condition is gonna matter so much. Whereas on the newsprint comics, it mattered a bit more. On the newsstand, those things mattered a bit more. I mean, look at a lot of comics right now from back in the day. Newsstand versions are very, very valuable because a lot of them got thrown away, torn up. So if you had a newsstand version of certain different issues, those versions were more valuable than the direct market version because it was basically less of them out there. So all kinds of things went into what made a comic collectible. But pushing this weird, it's collectible because we say so, that's just wrong.
Yeah, and then making comic shops suffer for it. That's, yeah, and I mentioned even earlier here, and I've always, you know, I like variant covers when they make sense, or when there's like one variant cover. I did a variant cover on Downcast, and the variant cover is only on Indiegogo because I don't know, I feel like you're balancing the collectability of, if you're going to be backing something on Indiegogo, you want to make sure people are getting their money's worth. And so I don't know, that makes sense to me. Having a book in comic shops with one variant cover, maybe, you know, I as long as comic shops don't suffer for it, like they're all getting the same number of variants or however that works. I don't know.
Yeah, or they get a choice to pick, you know, what they want to stock and things like that. And
yeah, they don't have like a minimum that you have to order so many of these copies. They know they're not going to sell in order to get these variants. I've got a problem with that. So I think variants, they've been abused. They can be used, I think, in a good way. I like variant covers in moderation and when nobody else is suffering for them.
When it's providing a choice to the consumer, that's fine. But when it turns into a constant gimmick, it gets a bit weird. And then especially, you know, when they mention the X-Men thing on the wall, it's on the wall, by the way. It's torn out from the book and on the wall. Let that sink in. It's a variant cover that is no longer attached to the comic because the comic is basically worth like a quarter. Does that say anything to anyone? It's on my wall as a poster. I love it. It's great. I love the art. But it's not valuable. So that's why when it turns into this valuable collector's type of thing, how many instances do we need to see where that kind of stuff, it's not valuable? When something important happens in a comic, then the comic's valuable.
Yeah, you've got a point. Like, I was collecting X-Men in the late 90s, early 2000s, right before the jump to new X-Men, where I was like, I'm out. I don't need them to look like they did in the movie. And it wasn't the best time in X-Men, but it was my book that I collected. And I missed out on 108, I think it was. 108, 109. It was when Colossus died. And I missed out on it. I couldn't find it for years. And I finally found it literally this year. And I don't go to comic book shops a lot. But you're right about it being, it wasn't valuable in that it was a good cover or whatever. It was valuable to me because it completed a collection, but it was also valuable in the fact that, well, at least at the time, Colossus had died. And like I said, I stopped reading after they made the jump to leather suits. So I'm sure all of that was retconned or changed and all that. But yeah, those can still happen. Those moments, I think, can still happen, but they have to mean something. That's the thing, is it has to mean something. Like right now, when you have comic deaths or character deaths, they don't hold any weight.
They'll be alive in 2 months.
Yeah.
They'll come back.
Yeah, and they bring them back, and they. It's frustrating that, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons why indie comics can be more enjoyable. Is that's one of the things I think we can do with a little bit more ease, I guess you could say. You know, they don't want to kill off characters because the characters make money for them. So for an indie comic, you know, and characters that die, I mean, they're gonna That's it. They're done. And it like there's an important character in my book that doesn't make it to the end, and that was hard to write too. Like because I've worked with these characters for so long, because I was like, one of these guys has to bite it, and it's like it can't be one of the third stringers. It has to be one of the guys, you know. And that was an important thing for me. So I think that's one of those things that an indie comic can bring to the table, that it can stay, and he can stay dead, right? So like Superman will die, but he'll come back. Wolverine will die, but he'll come back, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And there's no impact.
Well, that's what makes the stakes high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when things they have a lasting effect in the story. I really liked, I think, Eric, you got to the heart of the matter. Is the reason why things are so collectible is because it meant something to you.
Yeah.
And that's why, I don't know.
Yeah, they hit you emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm figuring all of this out. I don't know, I've just been thinking about it a lot over the weekend, but again, with crowdfunding, I think of all the, like, you get to know people, and you're part of somebody getting their book out there. I do think that fulfills some of that collectability stuff, or, you know, I mean, also it can be anywhere, not just crowdfunding for sure. But having it be a meaningful book to you, and chances are, if it's meaningful to you, it's meaningful to a lot of other people. And there you go. That's what makes it so collectible. And it's got to be beyond just the cover for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to check up.
This is a good, serious discussion you guys are having, but I have to do a dab for Aldous on the farm right now.
Aldous.
That's right.
And I'm going to do a super slow motion dab.
Do it.
Slow-mo.
So you can just keep talking amongst yourselves. This will take a while.
Okay. I'm gonna read the chats here. Yeah, Aldous on the farm just off Oral Wayne says in all caps, while it goes against my Puritan nature, high respect for Winger and Ball. Sweetcast backer number 220 here. Thank you so much for backing. That is awesome. Slow-mo dab.
Slow-mo dab.
Well, I can tell you that really it's not as baldy as a lot of people are thinking. It's actually pretty tame.
There you go.
I would say. all the sex is implied. There's no nudity.
There you go. There is the dab.
This is the art I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It takes time, but you know, it's art.
And did I just say that none of my videos are art? This has made it. This is now at the level. This is the first Sweetcast video that is truly art.
It's performance.
They're going to be showing this in art class like 100 years from now.
Yeah, I will remember this in 6 months. Okay, I'm going to check up on chat some more. Sorry, I've been neglecting y'all. Mariana, sorry, I know I'm going to say that wrong. I'm so sorry. That's exactly what is wrong with every comic book today being collected into a trade paperback. They used to be for special storylines only. They need to go back to that model. That's interesting. Aaron Olson says, I just bought the volume 1 trade paperback of Middle West and was bummed when I realized issue 1 had 3 variant covers, and I had unknowingly only bought 1 and wasn't by my favorite artist of the 3. Oh yeah, that's a bad feeling when you don't get the right cover you want. That's
a lot of people too, right? They complain. They go, some of these variants are way better than the standard cover. Yeah, they do that on purpose. You know, and it's. I know some people think, okay, well, the artists, they get work from the variants. Yes, they do. They get work from the variants, but there's artists would rather get. I've talked to so many of them that do variants in the big companies, and man, they're like, I do it. It pays some bills and whatever, but man, I would rather just get on a book. I don't even care if it's, you know, the equivalent of like Alpha Flight. I don't even know if Alpha Flight is still around. But it's that level of they'd rather just get on a book, but they'll take the job, you know. But they all know, this isn't great for the industry. The industry shouldn't really be going this way. But at the same time, they got bills to pay, and I absolutely sympathize. I understand that. I'm not going to bemoan anyone for that.
For an artist though, for a creator trying to get in, I mean, just getting on that book, I mean, that's important for their stepping stones. If they want to go that route of the big 2 and just sort of, you know, I mean, that's how everybody did it back then. You don't just get thrown on. a new #1. You don't just you had to earn it. And Jim Lee was on Alpha Flight. That's where he started. It's like now he's big time. I mean, he was, what was it, 86 that he was on Alpha Flight, and then by 91 he was doing that cover behind you. So you know, you got to put in the miles, but.
Right. Then before that, it was like how many hundreds of submissions that get rejected.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and he shared them. He's been kind enough to share a lot of his rejections, and some of them were very harsh. Some of them were so harsh that I think if they were around today and put out, people would be calling them a hate group.
Well, what was it? McFarlane said he was sending out like what, 9 submissions a day.
Yeah.
They were hungry.
Yeah. Again, if you're driven, if you are doing, you know, it's not just about the quality of your art or your writing. That is important. I didn't say it's not important. It's very important. But if you are driven and you're working really hard to perfect your craft and to change things, to make it better, especially when you get feedback from a publisher or from your audience or from whoever, that's going to set you apart from a lot of other people. Just got a $5 super chat, story time with Yang Yang Zo. Thank you very much for that. He says the disparity between comics and interior art is something I call the curtains not matching the carpet. Yeah, the cover and interior art. Yeah, that's the thing, is you don't want to bait and switch. That's what I think of. I don't know. A lot of great interior artists do really great covers too.
Yeah, that's something important to me at Alterna. You know, I always strive to say, okay, this person drawing this cover is also doing the interior art. So you get Scrimshaw with Dave Mims doing the interior art. You get Henry Ponciano doing Tinseltown, doing the interior art. You know, this stuff where it's like Alex Ross doing the cover, and you open it up and you're like, oh, it's so nice that they had a 12-year-old draw the inside.
Hey, we hired somebody off Tumblr for $50.
Well, okay. Now I have a hat in this ring, because the cover I showed earlier for Flying Fortress, I drew a few days ago in 2019. The interior art, page 1 of the story, is going to have been drawn in 2011, and it's going to look like it was drawn by a different artist, but I promise it's all me.
Well, it's not going to be fake news though, because all your backers already know that you made that a long time ago.
Yeah, that's true.
And the thing is, Eric, can they see your interiors when
Yeah.
they're going to purchase the book? Exactly.
Yeah. You've been showing off
that cover to go on, and then they're expected to pre-order it. The whole industry is built on pre-ordering, which is insane because there's so little education for consumers that they need to pre-order comics to get the ones that they want. And they have to go on a thumbnail, and that's sometimes they have to go on the thumbnail. A lot of the times the bigger publishers, it's pretty much a to be announced kind of thing, you know, and they don't know what the cover even looks like.
Yeah. Snowtab sent me a super chat. He says $2. I love that. Thank you very much. I've got to say, guys, this is my record for sure for super chats. I'll tell you, I will stream more often if I get super chats frequently like this. This has been really great. I will. That's right. Yeah, it's a lot of work. So yeah, I really do appreciate all the super chats.
We'll get a cut, right? I mean, I want a living wage out of this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You want a page rate?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm making money over here.
That's right. Did you get another backer?
Not yet, but I mean, we're doing really well. We just need like $123.
Ah, that's so close. So close. I mean, the next dab could be the
last.
Be the one.
Could be the last
final dab. It's the final dab down.
The one written about in Revelations.
Yeah.
The end times are near.
Yes,
that's right. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat here. All right. I don't know, guys. I think if we can get another backer, I want to end off the stream because for me it's like almost 10 o'clock. It's basically 10. I probably got to end it. But it'd be so great to have one more dab. So yeah, if you're thinking about backing it, check it out. I'm going to post it one more time here in the chat. And then Matt, why don't we go over to you? Why don't we check in on your project for those people that came in? We have 102 people watching right now. Sell this book.
Yeah, so this is a kind of a raunchy comedy like they used to make in the 90s. You know, everybody likes something about Mary, American Pie, Road Trip. So we got some sexy humor, but like I said, people, they were getting the wrong idea. It's not porn, okay? There's no nudity. All the sex is implied. It's an action adventure. There's sexy ladies, giant monsters. It's a great time. It's very fun. That we got great art by Carlo Rowe. I mean, by Joe Ball. Carlo Rowe did the poster. He's a great artist too. This is probably why people were thinking that it was maybe like a Playboy. We made this poster and it worked out really well for us at first because I was just going to like SJWs and using it to trigger them. And then we would put the book on there and we made a lot of money just like just using them to promote for us.
And let's look at that. I want to see that interior art one more time. Just the black and whites and the squid monster thing going on. His art is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read this super chat where we're looking at that amazing art from Get Down Demon for $5. Thank you so much, really appreciate that. He says, "Hail Super Harem, back Matt and his sexy dabs." And I did see John Chidester said backed. So I don't
So
know
maybe we got a new one coming up.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And then Art City Comics says, "Yeah, I'm bummed. I was live for most of this stream. This has been a great panel." Oh yeah, sorry, I don't check on who I'm competing with. So
we do have John in here. So yeah, he's getting a dab.
Here's a dab.
360 dab.
That's a dab NATO.
Yeah, dab NATO. It's coming at you.
Love it. Yeah, and John confirmed that he just backed it when he posted that. So thanks. That's great. Yeah, really, really close. 98% backed, says Trashfire. That is so close. How many days left do you have, Matt?
We have 27 hours coming down to the wire.
Oh man.
Wow.
You know what'd be great is if you were funded and then you could spend the rest of those 27 hours just relaxing, maybe icing your arm from all that dabbing.
Yeah. You're gonna need to see a masseuse tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is like the comeback of the century though, because like I was saying, our strategy worked at first of just like kind of using the SJWs to be my own personal PR team. We made a lot of money like right out of the gate, and then it just stopped. So I was starting to sweat it out for like 2 weeks, and then we got into the final week, and it just became this snowball, and we were getting on all these great shows, and yeah, we're coming right down to the wire. We're just gonna barely make it. It looks like.
Yeah, really close. I've seen, is it 69 left or 89 left? There's a discrepancy in chat.
Hey, I know you're about to wrap up, but I gotta go. I have the emergency spider trapped under a cup from the wife that I have to go deal with. Anybody that's married will understand the urgency of my mission. So
I'll see you. Congratulations on later in Earthworm Gym. That's a huge deal. I'm happy for you, and I hope you have a great night.
Thanks, Matt. Good luck on getting your campaign funded. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you,
Eric.
Good talk to you, Eric.
Later.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, we will be ending soon. Why don't we wait? Oh, we're so close, man.
Just wait. Just wait it out. He's gonna get funded.
So close. Yeah.
It'll be like 3 a.m. I'm like, just wait. He's gonna get funded.
Yeah. Well,
I think if I'm out here too much longer, it's midnight for me. My wife's not going to let me in the bed.
Uh-oh. Well, we don't want to cause any problems with the misses, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't see any reason why you won't get funded before you wake up tomorrow,
Yeah.
and yeah, that should go over well. I got one more question for Peter. We'll do that if that works. Why newsprint? When did you decide to go newsprint? Like, what was not like when, but what sort of kicked it over for you? Like, yep, this is the idea. I'm gonna do it. Go to newsprint.
Because to me, newsprint and comics are synonymous. I mean, this is what I grew up with. I always wanted to see my own comics on newsprint. It was just supposed to be kind of an experiment with a bunch of re-releases of alternate titles that were already out that never really got the full exposure that I thought they deserved. And then it took off. And then it was like, okay, let's add more. Let's keep putting them out. And then I always knew newsprint was capable of stuff. For those that don't know what newsprint is capable of, this isn't Feast or Famine. And the colors are by Dave Swartz. The art's by Joe Cooper. And for the people out there that are saying, oh, newsprint isn't capable of modern coloring, or it looks like crap, or, you know, it's bad, it'll never look good. This. And we've got books. Eden does the same thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. I think there's a lot of mistruths about newsprint, and I used to think it was just people being misinformed and things like that. But the stubborn and persistent resistance to accepting the fact that the things are cheap. It's cheap to print on newsprint. I tell you guys, if it was expensive, and I'm looking at it and we're losing money just to get comics out there, I wouldn't be doing this, because we're not. It's comics. I don't want to just lose money. I mean, we're doing this now, and it's coming on 2 full years of newsprint books.
Yeah.
So, you know, someone else had mentioned about graphic novels going, you know, it's kind of, they're not special anymore and things like that. It's kind of funny because I just talked about that, about how we're shifting away, and the company Altern has been around for 13 years. We mostly just did graphic novels for our first 11 years. And everyone thought I was nuts then. Everyone said graphic novels aren't going to take off. You're going to be gone in a year. And then we'd be around in 2 years. You're going to be gone this year. This is the year you're gone. And then we'd be gone, you know, around another 2 or 3 years. It was always that way. They maxed out the market around 2014, 2015. That's when I noticed sales started to plateau and started to actually dip a bit for graphic novels, because the market was getting flooded, because everyone was jumping in on it. Everyone was building single issues towards the trade. So every 6 issues turned into a stinking trade for no reason at all, other than to say, well, here's a trade. And it created what? It created single issues that weren't important anymore. And then it turned into, oh, well, you know, no one's buying them. So the whole market for graphic novels got flooded. And so we're pulling away now, because there's no point in it. The space, the market's even worse. The book trade market's even worse, actually, than the comics market. So to me, comics, newsprint, keeping them affordable, that's so important. We don't want to price out readers. As soon as we do that, we lose kids, we lose new readers. We make this whole entire hobby implode upon itself, because we want short-term gains. We want short-term gains instead of long-term. And that's not a plan for success, and it's not a plan to keep comics around for even within our own lifetime, let alone the next.
Mm. Yeah, we've got that's a really great point. That's something. So you were doing your expanding Alterna crowdfunder. I backed it, and we got a whole bunch of books. We got the all ages package because I was like, want my kids to read comics, because I love comics so much. And so we had them reading it and looking at the newsprint. It was really fun. And I remember me and my wife having this conversation about how it was just neat. Like, it was like the older comics that I was mentioning, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, with the newsprint. You know, there was something really nice about that. I don't want to miss this super chat by A Cold Piece for $10. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. He says, Johnny's Law, soon coming on Indiegogo from me and Ibai Canales. Elite assassin is manipulated into killing a kid. When he refuses, he must protect him in a deadly Texas town. Wrath and Revenge in full color, coming soon. Awesome. Yeah, look for that, Johnny's Law. And I can tell you, Ebi Candalis, I've had some really great interactions with him. He's a really great guy. And man, he's like one of the hardest working artists in indie comics right now.
He's getting around. He usually has like 2 or 3 books at a time.
Yeah, hard-working guy.
About that, like the familiarity of newsprint, when you go back to your collection and you pull out an old comic that you lived, there's like this really comforting aroma to an old newsprint comic.
Yeah, the smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Peter, you've got commercials like that, right? Where it's a new comic book day and people are smelling the books.
The whole setup was that it was like a creepy Twin Peaks comic shop where no one's reading the comics, they're just smelling them all. And you walk in and everyone's just completely zombified, sniffing comics really deep. And then we follow the store owner who goes, and it's all Alterna on there because that's what it should be. And he reaches out, picks the Alterna comic, turns around to the camera and takes a big sniff and is just like, ah. Yeah. And I can't even tell you how many people have done that at signings and shows. It's at least half of the people that come up to the table. They go, wait a second, newsprint. And they immediately sniff it. It's a beautiful thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's why I can't do digital. There's something about paper, it's great. I'm gonna
experience,
Yeah, I'm gonna point this out that Trashfire says, okay, guys, if we get Matt funded tonight during the stream, I vow to back Downcast. Back Downcast. That'd be awesome. Matt, do you have any new backers yet?
I'm not seeing anything.
Not seeing anybody. Okay. We're probably going to end. Let me read this last one with John Chidester here. He says, it would be good. Let's see. It would be a good idea to fundraise a graphic novel, but do a shop run as a short chapter comic for a lot cheaper each. Yeah, I think there's a lot of different routes you could go. If crowdfunding, it would make more sense for sure if it's bigger, and then doing singles through comics. I don't know. There's a lot of different routes. It'd be interesting to explore those different options a little bit more for sure. I think we're going to close it out though and let Matt, we'll let you get to bed for sure. I think both of you are Eastern time. So thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Great to talk to both of you.
It's great talking to you. This is the first time we've been on stream, and it's the first time that I've been on stream with Peter. So it's really great to get to talk to both of you guys.
Yeah, good to talk to you, Matt. Thanks for supporting Alterna too. I know you've been reading for a while.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of what you do, and just keep it up, man. You're really doing something special, I believe.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for watching Sweetcast. Thank you for the super chats. It's not too late to back Super Harem. You can get it's not in the link in the description, but check it out. I'm going to post it in the chat here one more time for anybody that is on the fence. There it is. And we will talk to you next time. Bye.
See ya.